Hi everybody, I'm Amy Rich with amyrich.net, and I am here to share with you my alternate project for the January 2021 paper pumpkin kit. I love it when that paper pumpkin kit comes in the mail because I open it up and I see all of the lovely supplies inside to create the projects that the kit is designed to make. But what I also like to do is take out all of the supplies, lay them all out, and see what else I can come up with. So let me share with you what I came up with for January's kit. There are so many fun supplies in January's kit, but I just chose a few for my project today. This is an extra piece of cardstock, sorry about that. So we've got a card base with Poppy Parade geometric shapes in it. And we've got the heart, and it comes on a card like this, but I've already trimmed it out, and that's got gold trimming around the edge. Then we've also got a black scallop, and we're going to use that for edging in one of our pieces of our card today. And then these teeny tiny little labels, and I'm going to use one of those as well. Loving the black ribbon. Oh my goodness, I wish we sold this in the catalog. It is so dainty and pretty, and it's got just a little bit of a sheen to it, which makes it even prettier. We've got some epoxy hearts and stars, or maybe flowers, whatever you want it to be. And then a few stamps from the stamp set. And of course the Poppy Parade Stampin' Spot. So let's get started by cutting our card base into a few pieces to fit onto our project for today. I'm going to bring in the trimmer, and I'm going to cut this card at 3 1/4, and then I'm going to turn it and cut it again the other direction at 4 5/8. This is a piece of scrap that you can use on another project. Then I'm going to take this piece again, flip it so that that fold, you know, we want to avoid that crease if we can. And we're going to put this side in at 4 inches, turn it and cut at 1 3/4 and 1 3/4 again. And these are the discarded pieces for this. So now we've got these 3 pieces that we're going to use on our project. Next, I'm going to bring in a piece of Poppy Parade cardstock that I've cut 5 1/2 by 11, and we're going to do some scoring on this. So we're going to score it at 1/4 inch, and I prefer to do it this way. It's easier to hold on to because I'm right-handed. So I'm just going to do 1/4 inch there, and then I'm going to flip it. So I've got my 1/4 inch over here, and then we're going to score it again at 3 3/4. And then we have to open up the arm of the trimmer and go in at 7 1/4 and score it again. So we've got those 3 scored lines at 1/4 inch, 3 3/4, and 7 1/4. Then we're going to go in with that skinny scored part at the top. And I'm going to put this side of my cardstock at 5/8 of an inch. And then I am going to start my blade. I think you can see that at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to start my blade at that first score mark at the bottom. And I'm going to trim all the way up. So I've got this little flap. Now I'm going to go in with my snips and just trim that right off. So next we're going to bring in a piece of 2 by 4 1/4 Poppy Parade, and let's give these all some folds on those creases. I'm going to fold that skinny part, use my bone folder to get that really a nice crease, and then we're going to accordion fold it. So now I'm going to go backwards and then forwards again. And then this is how our card is going to open. So we're going to take this 2 by 4 1/4 piece of Poppy Parade. We're just going to take a little bit of liquid glue and put a strip or a some of that just right along the edge. And then that I am going to adhere to that little flap on the side of my card. I'm going to make sure the bottom lines up with the bottom of the card. And then I'm going to open this up and trim off this little bit that that shows here. So I'm just going to trim at that 4 1/4 inches that I cut that piece. And then I'm going to just trim that little tab right off. Okay, so then I've got, it just looks better now when I've got it sitting there like that, that tab isn't showing there anymore. So this is how my card is going to open. And I've just used this little panel here to extend that a little bit so that it, you know, it looks nice and folds the way we want it to. So now we're going to come in and grab our pieces of paper that we cut from our card base from the kit. And I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal and just adhere one of these 1 3/4 by 4 inch pieces right down here on this little flap right there. And then what I'm going to do is take a piece of 18 inches of that ribbon and I'm going to put it around that flap, and then I'm going to tie it in a bow, and I'm going to tie that so that the bow is at the top of the little flap that I have added to this card. So we'll hope that this goes smoothly on camera. It almost didn't, but I think we did all right. All right, so we've got our ribbon on there, and I'm just going to trim that down a little bit. So again, that's an 18-inch length of the ribbon. Then we're going to open up that flap and we'll adhere this other piece onto the back, and that'll just keep the ribbon in place. I'm going to put plenty of adhesive. It'll keep the ribbon in place. I'm going to put that ribbon right in the middle, and then we'll adhere this piece right over the top, and that'll help cover up this little 1/4 inch seam that we had over here as well. Okay, so now here in this panel, I have cut just a piece of basic black cardstock that I'm going to adhere, and I'm trying to remember how big this was. I think it was 3.5 by 4 5/8, 3 1/4 by 4 5/8. And that's going to fit right on that panel really nicely. And on the other side, back here, we'll do the same size piece. And this is what we cut from our card base, 3 1/4 by 4 5/8. And that's going to go right in here. Then finally, I've cut a piece that's 3.5 by 5 of, this is Whisper White. Of course, if you were buying it now, you would be buying basic white. Oh, I forgot one thing. I got ahead of myself. I do have some adhesive down here, but I want to make sure it goes all the way to the bottom. And then we're going to layer that onto our scallop from the kit. And then I'm just going to trim that off with my snips so that it fits to size. And now this is ready. I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive at the bottom of the scallop as well. And now this should fit nicely right here on this panel. So then you can write your little message right on there. So we've got the card base ready to go. Now let's do some stamping. I'm going to bring back the heart that I cut out, and then the beautiful heart stamp from the paper pumpkin kit. So we're going to get that all inked up. Now, if you do have a Poppy Parade regular size classic Stampin' pad, you can certainly grab that to ink up your heart since it's a larger stamp. And then we're going to stamp that onto our heart. Look at how pretty that is. And while we've got our ink handy, I'm also going to stamp the little Be Mine, and that comes in our kit as well. And that I'm going to stamp on this little tag. Oops. Let's try again. I didn't get a good view on that. Luckily, there are 2 sides and some extra tags if need be. All right. Then we're going to go in with our little hearts and flowers and bring our card back in. And then ink that up. Just stamp that at the bottom for a little decoration. And that's all we're going to do to stamp. Bringing our dimensionals in now, I'm going to flip my heart around. And I'm just going to put 3 dimensionals along the left side of our heart. And then we're going to close our card and adhere that so that our heart sits right in the middle of the card, like this, and so that it can open like that. Then we'll grab the little Be Mine, and I'm just going to take just a little bit off the edge of our dimensionals because that seems to fit the best on our teeny little tag. Then we're going to add that down here in the corner. Be Mine. And then we're going to finish with some of our epoxy hearts. So I'm going to take a medium-sized heart and get it to fit right into where that little open-hearted stamped image is, right there. And then we'll take one of the tiny hearts and put it right up here by the Be Mine. Isn't that sweet? I love the accordion card and the uniqueness of how it is cut. So I hope you enjoyed it too. And, you know, this would make a great project for really any stamps and designer series paper. So if you're going to make one using different stamps, I would love to see what you've come up with. So please share it. I'd love that. Don't forget to subscribe here to my YouTube channel, and I will see you next time.